area, but you could see it from Madison into Baraboo, tracking toward the Randolph area. This does not include Watertown, but this complex of storms we've been watching, and they're inside these storms. We've been seeing little notches of rotation, and the bottom line is any of these storms tonight could easily produce 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. It doesn't necessarily have to be tornado worn. We've got that amount of energy going on in the storms themselves. So as we take a look at our wind gusts here, this is what we're looking at. So here's Beaver Dam. You are included in that tornado warning, but we're seeing some of that rotation just to the west of the Columbus area, also near the Sun Prairie area, as at any point these storms can quickly wrap up and rotate, and that's why we're on covering these tornado warnings. I'll be honest with you, there probably will be more tornado warnings tonight as the storms continue to evolve. In fact, we've got more storms going on to the southwest as well. A lot of these moving throughout northern Illinois have produced over 70 mile an hour wind gusts. So this is just the start, as we expected these thunderstorms to come through between about 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock tonight. But if you're just joining us, we do have that tornado warning going on for Dodge County. Sam, we can do a storm track inside that storm. Again, it's only impacting the northwestern part of Dodge County. Beaver Dam, if you are watching, good idea to be in your ready spot. Okay, we want you to be in the basement. If you don't have that, good idea to have the closet or the bathroom away from windows as well, because bottom line, these storms are going to come through. They could easily break glass, break trees, especially with damaging winds. So here's the latest storm track for you. Beaver Dam at 8:20, Burnett at 8:28, Waupun at 8:34. And we probably will update that track as well. These storms are zipping pretty fast, over 50 miles an hour. So the bottom line is these thunderstorms are moving. They're not going to be staying around all night. That's for sure. So one of the products we like to look at going inside the storm itself is to see any rotation here. And it looks like closer maybe to the Lowville area, we've got some of that. Wanakee, some strong winds coming out of there toward Sun Prairie. We're trying to give you a little bit of a heads up here, especially toward Beaver Dam. The problem with tonight is this line of thunderstorms. It's not like we have individual supercell thunderstorms where we have one storm and you can easily track that. What makes it really tricky is looking inside these storms and looking for individual areas of rotation, and that's what Sam has drawn in here, where she's seeing that right around Lowville, out of Wanakee. So these storms at least are bowing out there. That's why we're trying to give you some heads up here toward Columbus and Beaver Dam, as the storms are going to be moving in your direction. Strong damaging winds, a possibility from 60 to 70 miles an hour as well. Sam, you got some information?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, not in our area, but there is a new tornado warning that has been issued for the far southern portion of this line. This is to the west of Monroe, so still in southwestern portions of Wisconsin in and of itself. But we're getting reports of 70 to 80 mile per hour winds included within these storms. So that's damaging straight line winds, not even tornadic spinning winds. So this is going to be one of those evenings where if you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, you're going to want to take shelter as if it was a tornado warning, because we have some storms that have already produced structural damage back in northern Illinois. And these are the storms that are lifting into Wisconsin. That warm front has lifted farther to the north. We walked outside in Milwaukee in the last hour. It is warm. That humidity is starting to increase as well. So there's plenty of fuel out there, and there's a lot of spin in the atmosphere to generate these embedded spin-ups. And as Drew mentioned, they're happening pretty quickly.
Yeah, Sam, I did notice looking at some of the reports that are in Dane County, tons of trees down, including Madison as well. So these storms are blowing on through. And as Sam has mentioned, they continue to develop. And we also have some individual cells that we'll have to watch closely too. If we can get an individual cell that breaks out further enough east out of that line, that's something we would have to monitor as well. I don't want to forget the folks in Jefferson County. Sam, I know we've got that severe thunderstorm warning there. Again, any of these showers, quite frankly, or thunderstorms could produce some very strong gusty winds, 50 to around 60 miles an hour.
Absolutely. And they did issue that severe thunderstorm warning that goes into Jefferson County. That is for that extended line back to the west and those storms lifting out of Illinois in and of itself. So giving you a lot of leeway. So we're seeing 70-mile-per-hour winds. Even the storms in central Wisconsin, Marshfield measured a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust with these storms. They're doing damage. There's a new tornado warning for Dane County. So they're going to continue to warn along this line as we're seeing these embedded areas of rotation. And this trend will likely continue. There's no reason really that it wouldn't continue to progress to the east, especially into Fond du Lac, Dodge, Jefferson, Walworth, Waukesha counties at a bare minimum, Drew.
Yeah, Sam, we did not see a lot of storm activity throughout the afternoon. If you joined us last night, we talked about that. If we had some storms, it may work over the atmosphere a little bit. That really didn't happen today. Sam mentioned, I mean, we're sitting around 80 degrees early this evening around Milwaukee as that warm front is lifted. So most of this area, we're in what's called the warm sector. That is the juicy air and high heat and humidity, and that is the fuel that these storms need, right? Gasoline in the car, right? You need that fuel to get the engine to go. Same thing with these storms. You got high dew points. Temperatures are warm. There's a lot of cold air aloft. So quite frankly, all these ingredients coming together in order to produce strong to severe storms. So Sam is drawing in what we're looking at here, and we're seeing winds that are going away from the radar and toward. Now, keep in mind, the radar is behind me here, so the green is coming towards the radar, the red is moving away, and where we see a bit of a couplet or a notch, that's typically, where we see rotation and the potential for a quick developing tornado. That's probably what's going to happen tonight, Sam.
We just got the new scan in. If we want to keep the radar on, Drew, right now just circled a little bit tighter of an area of rotation that has just recently developed. Again, this is tracking to the northeast. So if you're watching us from Columbus right now, you have family in Columbus, Fountain Prairie, I would let them know to get to their safe place because the area of embedded rotation is heading towards them. These are quick spin-ups. You're not going to see the long track tornadoes, what was on the ground in Iowa earlier. These are embedded quick spin-ups within the line of significant wind damage that is occurring.
And we're going to see a lot of wind damage, 60, 70, even pockets. I'm not talking widespread, but there could be pockets of 80-mile-per-hour winds that will do damage just like a tornado. This is one of these events where we talked about this for several days, the ingredients coming together. So Sam, let's do a storm track, if you would, right from that notch, because I want to let the people know toward Beaver Dam, Columbus, those areas. We want to try to give them a heads up. If you're just joining us, we do have a tornado warning for Dodge County out until 8:30. We've got other tornado warnings issued just to the west of our area. From now until 10 o'clock, things are going to be hopping. Things are going to be very busy. We're going to see more warnings coming out. I understand that we're covering up programming, but we've got damaging thunderstorms, and these storms have had the history of producing damage. So here we go. Here's the storm track here. Beaver Dam, 8:26 or so. South Randolph at 8:21. Fall River at 8:13. You've got some time before that storm moves through. We can put up those tornado tips as well with me on the radar. Just as a reminder, if you haven't dealt with a whole lot of severe weather, we want to get to that basement, right? Make sure that we're away from windows. Get yourself into a closet or a bathroom if you can, if you don't have that basement. The other thing I would suggest to you, we should be streaming on our CBS 58 Ready Weather app. Take it to the basement with you. Hopefully it's charged, and you can watch us on there. I'm not sure if we're streaming on Facebook. That's something that we typically do as well. So a couple of opportunities for you where you can get that severe weather information. And as you can see, those storms are definitely lined up. All right, let's go back to the radar there. There's no doubt about it as we take a look at these storms that we've got these storms continuing to back build to the southwest. And all of this here is untouched, if you will. We have not seen anything in the atmosphere that's worked over at least that environment, Sam.
You're absolutely right. I also wanted to point out, recently updated from the National Weather Service on these severe thunderstorm warnings. They're now being tagged destructive with up to 80-mile-per-hour winds possible. And that is for the portion of the line that is just to the west of Monroe. So the farther south we are in this line, the more likely that line is to track into southeastern Wisconsin. And as Drew just mentioned, we didn't have any showers or storms earlier. We saw some sunshine, warm front came through. All the ingredients are there for these storms to continue on their current strength as they move to the east and northeast.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. I mean, 70 to 80-mile-an-hour winds, again, that would be, a lower end, tornado. So damaging storms are expected tonight. That's why we're breaking in to coverage. We've got numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, and most likely what's going to happen is we will have more warnings that are issued and probably some additional tornado warnings as well. We are still watching, that line there. We'll probably get a newer scan, but in and around that line itself, that's what's going to be tracking toward Beaver Dam. So if you are watching from western Dodge County, you want to be planning on damaging winds, probably over 60 or 70 miles an hour as those storms come through. I mean, this is the tricky part within that line, is trying to pick out, these notches here or there. And you notice these tornado warnings extend back. In fact, if you want, Sam, maybe turn off the radar data, and just to show the folks, it makes it a little bit easier to see all of these tornado warnings here. They're coming out of northern Illinois. All right, so we've got Rock County, and I would most likely expect to see more of these warnings and tornado warnings. Sam?
And stay on Drew here. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for Fond du Lac, Dodge, and into Washington counties. That goes until 9 p.m. Damaging straight line winds of 70 miles per hour are possible. Again, these spin-ups are occurring very quickly, so wouldn't be surprised if there's another quick spin-up as this line continues to advance. So that's why we want you to take tornado precautions, whether or not you're under a severe or tornado warning this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay away from windows as these storms are coming through, because they definitely are going to pack a punch. Sadly, we probably are going to get a lot of power outages as well. So hopefully you've got your devices charged up and ready to go. Now, right now, as we reset, the only tornado warning we have in our area is western Dodge County. But now we've got newly issued severe thunderstorm warnings, as Sam has talked about, with the potential for damaging winds over 70 miles an hour. And you can see where all that lightning is clustered, okay? That's the updraft. So you got these storms that are just growing, and they continue to grow. And as a meteorologist, when you see that cluster there, you know that storm is healthy, if you will, and it continues to march into a very favorable environment. I mean, this is south of the warm front, in that warm sector. Temperatures this afternoon in some spots have spiked well into the 80s. In fact, Janesville getting close to 90 degrees this afternoon. Northern Illinois in the upper 80s. Milwaukee was sitting in the 60s forever, and then temperatures popped up to around 80 degrees this evening. I know a lot of people say, well, the sun is going down. You've talked about you want that sunshine out there. There's no doubt about it. We get a little bit more explosion, if you will, in the afternoon. However, there's a ton of cold air aloft, and we've got a lot of warm, unstable air at the surface. So even though the sun is going down, it doesn't matter. It's still, there's a ton of instability in the atmosphere that will feed these showers and thunderstorms. I mean, this is a severe weather event, no doubt about it. As we continue to take a look at that notch there, if you're watching from Columbus, you need to be in that safe spot, right? Because that storm is going to be coming toward you. Our friends in Beaver Dam, closer to 8:20, that notch is going to be moving in your direction, give or take a few minutes. So that's why we want you, to take those tornado precautions, right now. And we probably will see, more of that, going on. And we've got a couple of individual cells here. They probably will merge into this line, but anything to the south here is something that we're going to have to watch very closely. And we've got clusters around here. We had a lot of damage reports around Dane County earlier with trees down, and then look at this cluster just to the south of the Barneville area of lightning. So these are the storms here. And the models have painted a pretty good picture between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, Sam, pretty consistent this evening.
And you pointed out that notch just to the west of Monroe. That's where they're experiencing the 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And I wanted to point out, too, on the radar, the cell that is just to the west of Janesville, that's over Evansville, that's tracking to the north. What sometimes happens is these outside cells will merge into the line itself and cause extra spin. The fact that these storms are already tornado warned means there's enough spin already in the atmosphere that might just enhance it a bit more. So even though folks in Jefferson County, western Jefferson, say Johnson Creek to Watertown, you're not under a warning right now and not a tornado warning, that's just something, a very early heads up that could be a possibility as this line continues to progress to the east.
Yeah, and some of these storms down here, and Sam had mentioned earlier, they're talking about considerable damage here with 80-mile-per-hour winds. So damaging winds, the biggest factor out of all of these storms. And then to complicate the situation, right, there's enough wind shear going on where, as we look inside, we get these little individual notches that can produce some very quick tornadoes. So whether it's a fast-moving tornado or damaging winds, we're going to get the same result. There's going to be problems and damage there. So again,
storm track here.
Pardon me, Sam?
I'm going to do another quick storm track here.
Okay, that sounds good. So we're kind of being finite, a little bit more finite within that area here. So Beaver Dam at 827, Fall River at 814. It's going to be moving toward you within the next couple of minutes. So definitely need to be, in your basement, right? The closet or the bathroom. And we may have some new people joining us. We've got a line of severe storms capable of 70, even some areas at 80 miles an hour, including some isolated embedded tornadoes, right? This is not a surprise. We've been talking about this for the last several days, and we're just kind of waiting for the storm to be here. So this gives you an idea. This is the only tornado warning in our area. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings going on for Fond du Lac County, the rest of Dodge County, also into northwestern parts of Washington County. This is all in advance of that line. You may be saying right now, man, there's nothing going on. We have nothing. I can hear some thunder in the distance, but that's about it. But all of this is going to be tracking in our direction. And look at the surge, over the last couple of minutes where you see all of that really speeding up. So these storms are definitely moving, and unfortunately, they're tracking over the same area as well. So there probably will be some flooding, or at least that potential as well. Sam? I'm
going to do a wider storm track here on the northern part of this line in our viewing area.
I think that's a good idea.
Tornado warned. Just to give the folks in Fond du Lac and Dodge County an idea, again, these are moving to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. They are sprinting into the to the northeast. So we're trying to give you a lot of lead time as this continues to work in. All right, sorry, they're just trimming back a tornado warning outside of our area. New information there, but yes, we are continuing to see this line race to the northeast at about 55 miles per hour, Drew.
Yeah, and so as we've done a different storm track, you notice the times have changed. That happens, right? We're adjusting the speed and all of that. So Beaver Dam a little bit earlier for you, 8:15. Waupun at 8:22. Fond du Lac at 8:40. Kewaskum at 8:53. And those are the folks who. Oh, we got a new tornado warning.
Yep, for northern Fond du Lac County. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please.
We're going to zoom in a little bit more. We're looking at these notches. This new tornado warning that does include the city of Fond du Lac goes until 8:45 this evening. I'm going to flip over to velocity here. All of these have been radar indicated rotation. Right. There hasn't been any confirmation of anything touching down. And at this point, we're getting a little bit farther away from the radar beam, so that radar beam is shooting farther up into the storm instead of the lower levels where we would normally get right into that lower level rotation where the tornado would be. But again, the Weather Service saying they have a history of these little notches popping up within this line itself, so they went ahead and issued that tornado warning. Still moving to the northeast at 55 miles per hour, Drew.
Yeah, and definitely plan on 60-plus mile-an-hour winds as these storms come through. Like Sam said, I mean, you got to get a little bit nitpicky, when it comes to that. But I totally understand, the tornado warning there. And we'll also have to watch and see, although it's out till 8:30, we'll see if this gets extended as well. Watertown, you're right on the edge of a severe thunderstorm warning, not within the tornado warning, but southern portions, well, I should say really kind of the central part of Fond du Lac County, including Fond du Lac, in that tornado warning. So you can see this complex of storms as it muscles up and moves further to the east. West Bend, you are under that severe thunderstorm warning, but at this point, you're not seeing anything, but you could probably, if you're outside, right, you're going to see a lot of lightning in the distance and starting to hear the thunder and seeing the storm clouds roll in. So that's what that is. Sam, let's pan down a little bit to the south. I do want to see what's what's going on there. We still are watching this individual cell here to the south of Madison, just to the west of Janesville in Rock County, and I've been watching that a little bit just because it seems to be individual, and anytime you can get an individual cell that stays out ahead of that main line, especially within this area in that warm sector, you got to watch that very closely. So we'll keep our eyes on that. It might just get ingested back into the main line, and as Sam had talked about, as that happens, sometimes that can enhance some of the shear, and it may create some more problems. Then you got Belleville and then Monroe. You've got the storms that are developing or continuing really throughout northern Illinois, pushing into southern Wisconsin. And these had damage, or at least were producing damage throughout Joe Daviess County, I believe, earlier, where they were estimating, radar was estimating winds anywhere from probably 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. So, Sam?
So just the latest update from the National Weather Service itself. We're going to be getting areas of rotation in the northern portion of the severe squall line. That's including the Fond du Lac tornado warning, the tornado warning for Beaver Dam. That portion of the line is showing the most embedded spin-ups, so that's where the National Weather Service is continuing to issue those tornado warnings. They're saying the southern portion of this line that is moving in from Illinois and even hitting Monroe right now, that is what we're watching for potential for 70 to 80 mile per hour straight line winds. So there's also just now, sorry, I'm reading the Weather Service as well.
No, that's fine.
An additional storm back to the west that looks like that would stay to our north, which is good. But yeah, this squall line means business, and you need to be taking your tornado precautions now. Again, if you have a basement, go to your basement, lowest level of your home, an interior room, as far away as you can get from those windows. So if you live in an apartment, middle of your apartment, bathroom, closet, anything without windows. We saw what happened in Houston, Texas just a few days ago with damaging straight line winds of over 80 miles per hour. We want to be prepared and then have it turn out to not be as insane and as serious as what we're hoping for. But at this point, we need to be taking our precautions. And if you're not in a watch or warning right now, you need to be thinking about where you would go and what you would do, because there's really no signs of these storms dissipating, Drew.
Right, and we got that tornado warning not in our area to the west of Monroe, and all of these are extending to the north and east. So most likely these storms are going to be closer to the lakefront between 9 and 10 o'clock tonight. So if you're wondering, watching from Milwaukee and watching from Waukesha, I think we still have a little time there before the storms come through. But they are racing rather quickly. The upper level winds are zipping on by, and that's why we're seeing storm motion over 50 miles an hour. That's how fast these storms are moving through. I did see that the sirens are going off throughout Fond du Lac County with that warning as well. Did see that report. But we've got kind of two areas that we're watching. This one here into western Fond du Lac County, also into western Dodge County, and then we're watching more storms to the southwest, and those are the two clusters. We've switched back over inside that storm.
Nothing popping out really.
No, it looks, and that's the problem. It's pretty tough to see. I mean, it's almost like pretty much a straight line here. Usually when you see some sort of notch, right, or a couplet, you're going to see those colors right up next to each other in a little bit of a tighter form, but we're not seeing that. But that's not a surprise with this situation, because you can get these embedded spin-ups in these embedded tornadoes within the line. So with the tornado warnings, with these severe thunderstorm warnings, it's just a good idea to continue to get that information out, to the public. I understand, that we're covering up programming for that, but these storms have had the history of 60 to 70, even 80 mile per hour winds. That's dangerous, and we need to stay ahead of that, and that's why we're doing that. So we'll do a what we call a squall line storm track. Makes it a little bit easier for us to draw it out. All right, so Beaver Dam, really that storm is impacting you right now. You're going to get the winds over you. Waupun at 829, Fond du Lac at 844, Kewaskum at 857, the Chilton area at 904. So we'll see, how these storms continue to evolve and if they hold together, as they move east. But we still have plenty more storms to the southwest. So if you're watching from any of those areas, you need to be, especially Beaver Dam and Waupun and Fond du Lac, those storms are going to be on top of you rather quickly. And now we have a new tornado warning. So Sam, probably a good idea. Let's turn the radar data off.
Yep.
And if you would query for me the warnings, that way we can get our folks at home reset.
This is the new warning that has just been issued for the rest of Fond du Lac County and the rest of northern Dodge County. That runs until 9 p.m. this evening. Storm is still tracking to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. That is still radar indicated rotation with this cell. Again, it's just showing enough embedded rotation for every couple of scans from the radar that they're continuing this tornado warning and extending this tornado warning. Again, this does include, I'll zoom in a little bit closer here on the radar. We can see what some of these communities are. But again, most of Fond du Lac County, outside of even Campbellsport, you're included within this warning as well. Fond du Lac, Waupun, Ripon, Forest, Campbellsport, you are all included in the tornado warning. It's really once you get down towards Auburn and into Kewaskum, which is outside of Fond du Lac County, you're not included any longer. Mayville, you should be taking your tornado precautions as well. You're now included in that 9 p.m. tornado warning. The other tornado warning for Beaver Dam goes until 8:30, and the northern Fond du Lac one goes until 8:45. Drew?
Sam, if you want to turn the velocity on and go right by Fox Lake, there was some talk of some rotation there that they were concerned about. So we'll take a look at that.
Yeah, just
right there. So again, it's kind of messy, when it comes to that. But there was some talk from the National Weather Service about some of that there, and that's why they issued downstream. I think that's probably the takeaway here is they're seeing just enough that they want to make sure that folks we can get out ahead of it. So with that being said, maybe what we'll do is just a squall line storm track for the new tornado warning.
Yes.
Just to give some of our folks a heads up, we can just do the storm track there. Beaver Dam, that storm is impacting you right now, so hopefully you've been watching and you're in your safe spot. But we can do that storm track, and that's exactly what Sam is doing, pretty much along the new tornado warning. She's going to draw that out to about 50 miles an hour. So Waupun at 831, Oshkosh, then we get just outside of our area here. As that storm comes through. But if you're watching from Mayville, if you're watching from the Auburn area, right, Byron, Fond du Lac, you need to be in that safe spot, right? Because those storms are going to be rolling through, and they could be producing 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. Especially if we can't pinpoint an actual area of rotation. But tornado warnings continue there, Sam.
Absolutely. And if we're concerned about that rotation near Fox Lake, I'm going to flip back over to the velocity product.
Sure.
Resave it as well a little bit farther to the north here. If we're tracking that rotation, that's going to go right between either right to on the west northern side of Waupun towards Brandon. So those areas specifically, I'll zoom in a little bit closer. Looks like maybe that area of rotation is just north of Fox Lake now. Again, on the leading edge of these storms in and of itself.
Here's 68 right toward Waupun and
Alto, you're right in the path of this.
Right. Oakfield, not that far away as well. So if you're watching from the Oakfield area, good idea to be in your basement. Oakfield, obviously one of the historic tornadoes that occurred in our history there.
I'm going to go ahead and reset here.
No, I think that's great. There's a lot going on within this line of thunderstorms. We've got numerous warnings going on. Now, listen, if you're watching from Waukesha, Milwaukee, you're saying, there's nothing going on here. We've got all these warnings. Still feel like this line is going to be progressing east and moving toward you between 9 and 10 o'clock tonight. So even though you may not be impacted by the storms, there are a lot of other people, especially on the western parts of our area, that are being impacted by these strong to severe thunderstorms capable of 70+ mile-an-hour winds. So it's something that we're also going to have to watch for power outages. That's why we continue to cover up programming, because we've got these tornado warnings that continue to be issued. Sheboygan County, I'll tell you earlier, I did not think, that those ingredients may even make their way north. A lot of times the lake, has that effect where, it can kind of keep some stabilization going on. Well, this is such a dynamic system that warm front definitely lifted north. And that's the other part about this. These storms that track near the warm front or cross the warm front also have the potential to spin up as well. There's an enhanced amount, what we call shear, right along that warm front where the winds are coming in pretty quickly, and you got to be careful, Sam, with those types of storms as well.
And that warm front positioning is basically right near the Fond du Lac area.
Sure.
I'm looking at a surface map here. The difference from normally we'll see these warm fronts get stopped by Lake Michigan, but there's a strong area of low pressure associated with this warm front back in southwestern, southeastern Minnesota. And so it's forcing that front to lift northward despite the cold waters of Lake Michigan. That's why the entire area is under a tornado watch, and we have tornado warnings being issued. Again, that enhanced spin right along the front that is sitting right over Fond du Lac right now. Not surprised that it continued with that tornado warning as we keep seeing these embedded areas of rotation. I think we're going to flip back over to velocity, see if we have a new scan there to show you. Again, we were watching some rotation just to the north of Fox Lake. Maybe a little bit more broad rotation north of Fox Lake now. I don't believe we've gotten that new scan quite yet, but we should be getting it shortly. But even ahead of these storms, south of Madison, we're getting some wind gusts now of 60 miles per hour ahead of those storms, so even before the storms get there. So there's a lot of not only wind shear to cause these storms to maintain their strength and to spin, but it's also forcing those wind gusts to come down to the surface, and that's why we're seeing frequent wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles an hour. Yeah,
I just saw on the chat there, Sam, there's a ham radio operator near Mount Horeb. I know that's just outside our area, but easily 70+ mile-an-hour wind gusts. So these storms mean business, and they will likely do some damage. So if you're just joining us right now, we do have a tornado warning for Fond du Lac County, northern Dodge County. This does not include Washington County. Washington County, you have a severe thunderstorm warning. You're not in the tornado warning, okay? So just want to clarify that at this point. We've got this batch of storms that is moving to the northeast, but then we're also seeing beefy storms to the south as well that have been rolling out of northern Illinois, and those storms were producing 70 to 80 mile per hour winds sampled by the radar, and we're doing structural damage as well outside of our area. So those storms were definitely, packing a punch. And we still have that tornado warning throughout Dane County as well. So we've got this line that's right over Beaver Dam as we speak. We'll do a current storm track for that, moving it to the northeast, right around 50 to 55 miles an hour. And we've extended that into Sheboygan County at this point just to see. So if you're watching from Plymouth, 9:15 for you, Chilton at 9:03, Taycheedah at 8:49, Oshkosh outside of our area there at 8:43, Waupun at 8:29. So these storms are moving very fast at 50 to 55 miles an hour or so as they race on through. So that's the storm track there. Sam, I wouldn't mind. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I do have a new report to pass along.
Sure.
So the storm is just hitting Ripon right now. And we're getting reports that a tree fell on a house in Ripon.
Okay.
And that storm just got here, so it is packing
Sure.
very extremely strong winds. We don't have a wind measurement right now. It is getting closer to Juneau, where there might be a wind measurement. Same with Fond du Lac. Those airports do have sensors.
Right.
And there is some very strong wind that is moving into Madison right now, so we should be getting some wind gust reports soon. But we're starting to get reports that trees are being knocked over onto homes, at least one in Ripon.
Yeah, my guess is we're probably going to see the power outages to follow as well. Not getting any reports of that at this point, but if we're getting 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, that's probably going to happen. Sam, if you will, I want to pan just down to the south of this line a little bit. As you can see, all these storms moving through the Madison area, and then near Monroe, they had a quick 61-mile-an-hour wind gusts out of that storm. That individual cell moved through into Edgerton, and now it looks like it's being absorbed in the line itself. So that did not race out ahead of it. We're seeing a little bit around Watertown. You could probably get some brief gusty winds out of that, as those showers are probably going to pull some momentum down, some strong winds, but that's not really severe at this point. As we look at more storms that are firing to the southwest. And keep in mind too, we're looking at the Milwaukee radar here, so the further away we go from that, it may not look as menacing because it's scanning high in the sky there. So I know we've gone back over to our velocity here. Bottom line, so strong winds on the leading edge of this line of showers and thunderstorms. So easily pockets of 60+ mile-an-hour winds as they come through. So you want to be away from those windows, preferably in a basement, a bathroom, or a closet. That would be a great spot to go at this point.
I just flipped over to the Green Bay radar to see if we could get a better sampling in Ripon. Not seeing that any better. So
yeah,
go back to the Milwaukee radar.
Yeah, I was going to say Fond du Lac County is tough. It's kind of right on the border almost of two radars from Green Bay into Sullivan. So it tends to scan a little bit up. And that's just the way it is. It's just the position, of the radar. But as Sam had mentioned, these storms are going to be approaching Fond du Lac at the airport, and we will likely get at least some confirmation there of damaging winds, or at least the potential there as they come through. Sam?
I just wanted to reiterate to folks that are just joining us, all of these tornado warnings are for radar indicated rotation. We have not had any confirmed tornadoes. We have not seen any debris being picked up and lofted on radar. They're quick little embedded spin-ups, but despite that, the damaging straight line wind threat is just as big of a concern. Whether or not the wind is spinning or coming straight at you, it's going to be doing damage. And again, we're getting that report of the tree that fell on the home in Ripon, and now the National Weather Service is saying 60 to 75 mile per hour wind gusts working their way into eastern and southern portions of the city of Madison right now. So these storms are doing quite a bit of wind damage out there, and of course we don't want people going out during the storm, so a lot of these reports that we're going to get in are likely going to be delayed. But these storms, they're not weakening, folks. I'm going to scroll down a little bit closer to Madison. You can see these bright blues popping up on the radar. If we wanted to take the radar full screen right now, I'd be able to query some of these wind gusts that are moving through Madison. Again, near Fitchburg even, some of these wind gusts being sampled by the radar, 73 miles per hour. Even a little bit farther to the south, 64 miles per hour. This is tracking to the northeast, so this would be heading towards the Lake Mills area, Watertown, southwestern Dodge County, giving you plenty of leeway there. I know that you're under a tornado warning right now for a different portion of this storm, but these storms are tracking to the northeast, unfortunately. So not only that, they're producing a lot of rain. Even though they are moving very quickly, they're tracking over the same locations. And so that could cause some localized flooding as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We've got more severe thunderstorm warnings that will likely be issued in advance of these showers and thunderstorms. Dane County, though, really seeing the brunt of things tonight. Just about 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, there were a lot of reports of trees that were being down throughout the county there. I know it's just outside of us, but it's Madison. And as that storm is approached, these are the same storms, all right, that moved out of northern Illinois that were creating some structural damage and some problems just over the border. So not a surprise as these storms have come through. And here's the interesting part. Madison was already hit by storms, and so they're rolling over, the same type of area. And, that's, they're not really losing their strength. So if these storms hold on here, yeah, they could be moving into western Jefferson County or up around the same spot. So this is what we have so far, just to reset.
Brand new severe thunderstorm warning.
All right,
there.
Let's click on that and get the latest, all right? So Dodge, Jefferson, Rock, now western Waukesha County, severe thunderstorm warning until 10 o'clock. All right, so this is extended out a little bit more. Sam, were you going to say something? Or?
Yes, and the hazard with that is 70 mile per hour winds.
Okay, so 70 mile per hour winds. Usually they issue these severe thunderstorm warnings for winds at 58 to about 60 miles an hour. So now you're talking about 70-mile-per-hour winds, and there's a big difference between 60 and 70. All right, so we've got that severe thunderstorm warning until 10 o'clock. Then we continue this tornado warning. That goes until 9 o'clock, another 30 minutes for Dodge and Fond du Lac County. All right.
I'm going to flip the radar back on just because the storms, the warning that was issued for Jefferson County into western Waukesha counties, that's for the area of the storm that is pounding Madison right now. And according to the National Weather Service, the spatial extent of this wind field is so large on the southeast side of Madison that it's not out of the question to be seeing 60 to 75 mile per hour wind gusts for 10 to 15 minutes. So this is a very intense, large area of damaging winds moving through a populated area of Madison right now, tracking to the northeast at 65 miles per hour. And that is what is coming in towards Jefferson County. Again, you still have quite a bit of time as these storms are tracking to the northeast. We just got a measured wind gust from the Middleton area of 59 miles per hour, and that's on the northwestern side of Madison itself. The worst of those winds south side of Madison. So definitely something we're keeping an eye on. We're now getting reports of trees and power lines down in Fox Lake in Dodge County. That was where we were seeing a little bit of rotation earlier. So again, that tornado warning does continue. Maybe we'll do a new storm track on that tornado warning storm, Drew, as it continues to move.
I think that's a good idea as these storms continue to evolve across the area. We will do that and then reset a little bit so we can just go right within the box area. And that's what I like about these polygon warnings, is they really kind of specialize in where where the storm is going. All right, so Fond du Lac at 8:49, Campbellsport at 8:55, Plymouth at 9:14. So the Kiel area also right around 9:12 if those storms are coming through. Now, we don't have any warnings at this point for Sheboygan County. My guess is at some point you're going to get at least a severe thunderstorm warning there. So as the storms come through. So we probably will get a little bit more when it comes to reports of trees down and probably some power lines down and power outages across the area as these wind gusts are going throughout the Waupun area, tracking into Fond du Lac County. So right over Brandon and Waupun, Sam.
I am going to circle this area. It doesn't look great on velocity because there's a little, that purple pixel is a little obscured right now, but there is a little hook right where that purple pixel is. Yeah, that's a little bit more concerning, those little notches out ahead of it. And it does look like, I'm going to actually flip over to our hail product real quick, because that hail core right on the backside of Waupun was also increasing.
Right.
Not showing up too much on our hail tracker. Haven't got a new scan yet, but also a concerned quarter-size hail, half-dollar size hail with these severe storms. Yeah, we haven't got a lot of reports of hail, and a lot of times when you get these embedded storms that come through, they're more wind producers than they are hail producers. But this is what Sam is looking at. You see that notch. So if you're watching from Lomira, if you're watching from Campbellsport, okay, the forest area, Fond du Lac, now's the time to take those tornado precautions, right? Get in the basement. Mentioned this earlier. If you've got a cell phone, when you get the CBS 58 Ready Weather app, we should be streaming on the app, and you can take that to the basement, the closet, or the bathroom, right? And you don't have to turn up the television. You can just take us with you, and you should have the information there. So just a couple of safety tips for you. Obviously take the pets with you. We don't want you outside. Don't need to be driving. Stay away from windows and doors. The basement, lowest floor of your house or home. And I always say put as many walls between you and the storm as possible. The center part of your home is going to be structurally the most sound. So. Maybe Sam, we do a little storm track just local on.
Yeah, we're going to do a smaller storm track as it comes out of Waupun.
So it is going towards Fond du Lac.
Yep, we'll track it into Fond du Lac there. 8:53 for Fond du Lac. Techeetah at 8:57. The Bergen Beach area at 9:01. Calumet at 9:07. So that's definitely an area where there could be a real quick spin-up type of tornado or damaging winds, that are possible, maybe over 70 miles an hour. So we've got that, and there's the latest track and the latest storm scan as well as these storms are moving through. Again, they're moving 50 to 55 miles an hour as the storms are coming through. So Fond du Lac, it won't be that long before that storm moves into your area there. So we've got that part of the tornado warning storm. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings to the south as well. We had mentioned western portions of Waukesha County as the storms are coming through, and that's really in advance, as Sam had said earlier, of these storms near Madison. And we're starting, if you notice the last scan there, and I can move out of the way, we start to see it move a little bit further to the east opposed to northeast. So we may get these storms to start moving more east than north, as we expected. The computer models were showing these storms to come through between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and so far the timing has worked out pretty well. We also have severe thunderstorm warnings to the south of Rock County, so we've got some more storms there. Sam?
So it looks like what you were pointing out, those two storms forming together from New Glarus to Madison is enhancing that wind. The National Weather Service just updated the severe thunderstorm warning that's in place for Dodge, Jefferson, and Waukesha County with wind speeds up to 80 miles per hour. It has the destructible tag attached to that severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're hearing tornado sirens, once it gets to this level, some communities will sound the sirens for destructive winds that strong, and especially with a severe thunderstorm with a destructive tag on it. Again, you're going to want to get to a place of shelter. Do not stay in your car. Get away from the windows. Treat this as a tornado warning. Again, up to 80-mile-per-hour winds are possible with this cell currently moving through Madison. And again, these two cells combining together, causing that to push a little bit farther to the east, Drew.
Sam, let's go to the velocity product on that storm and what we can do with velocity. It allows us to look inside that storm, and we can try to pinpoint where the damaging winds are. And so what we're looking at here, these bright colors to the south of Madison, right around Stoughton here, we're seeing the potential for some very strong winds. So Sam is querying this. Don't pay attention to the minus sign, but 76-mile-an-hour winds. Now, again, that's what the radar is sampling, but you could basically say, the potential is there, with these winds to be 70 miles an hour. So the Weather Service in their tag saying destructive at 80 miles an hour, that's serious. That's very, very serious. And that's one of the things that they're trying to do a little bit more with these warnings is explain, okay, this is what, these are the damage tags, okay, this is what we're expecting. So to see an 80-mile-per-hour, or at least that expectation, 70 to 80 with that destructive tag, these storms are dangerous. These are dangerous storms that can blow out windows, take over trees easily, especially with some of the recent rainfall as well. It doesn't take a whole lot to do that. So we'll do that storm track. We've been mentioning Jefferson County here. So Fort Atkinson at 9:02, Watertown at 9:12, Exonia at 9:17, Edgerton at 8:48. All right, if you're watching from the Lake Mills area, probably closer to 9 o'clock or so as that storm moves in toward you as well. And we will be watching, Watertown. Maybe you're checking in from Oconomowoc right now saying, I'm kind of concerned about these storms, right? Jefferson County, Waukesha County, these storms are going to be moving toward you, and the potential for damaging winds will also be for your area. So this is what we got going on. Sam?
We just got a new tornado warning for Fond du Lac County just because the warning was about to expire in 3 minutes. The new tornado warning basically extended it another half hour until 9:15.
Let's turn off our radar data, and I just want to reset. It's always good to reset. We're almost, we're getting close here, to 9 o'clock, almost 8:45. So notice we've got a majority of our western counties in some sort of warning, and we've got this newly issued tornado warning. So we'll query that and get the latest information on that. And that way we can reset and kind of figure out what the latest track is here. Dodge, Fond du Lac, all right, that goes until 9 o'clock. So that's we've got another 15 minutes for that tornado warning. And then we still have the severe thunderstorm warning going on. Dane, Dodge, Jefferson, and Waukesha. This has that the real damaging wind threat, 70 to 80 mile per hour winds, that destructive tag that we talked about that they don't put out very often, all right? So that potential is there. And then we still have severe thunderstorm warnings also, to the south. So we've got this one here that includes Washington County. This goes until 9 o'clock. You haven't seen a ton in Washington County. Now you've got this line here.
Interesting to see that form out.
Right? So we've got this individual line here, and these storms, there's a lot of wind energy. That rain, it can actually drag down some strong wind gusts. So don't be surprised if you see, some gusty winds. But now we're starting to see a little bit further east. These storms are coming out a little bit more. That's why we're concerned about some of our areas, to the west. Right now, if you're watching from Waukesha itself, you are not in the severe thunderstorm warning. The western part of your county is. My guess is this is probably going to be extended at some point to include the rest of the county, and then we'll have to see what happens with our lakeside counties as well. But temperatures have warmed, throughout those areas. All of this remains really in the warm sector tonight, Sam.
We're going to do two storm tracks here. We'll do first the leading edge of this tornado-warned storm in Fond du Lac County. These storms, they're still moving at 55 miles per hour.
Zipping.
They are moving northeast. So again, I wouldn't be surprised to see portions of Sheboygan County put under some type of warning sometime soon, especially the northwestern portion of the county. Again, reaching Fond du Lac here in about 6 minutes, reaching the Empire area at 8:55. Chilton around 9:07, Plymouth just after 9:15, and then making it into Manitowoc County after about 8:30. I'm going to move farther to the south with that severe thunderstorm warning with the destructive tag with the 80 mile per hour winds possible. That is currently moving through portions of Dane County, also moving to the north and east. So Watertown, you're in the path of the storm by about 9:12. Lake Mills right around 9 o'clock. Waterloo about 5 minutes before 9, and Ixonia at about 9:20. We're not getting too many more damage reports right now. Most of the reports we've gotten have been in Fond du Lac County. We had a tree fall on a house in Ripon.
Right.
Some tree and power line damage in Fox Lake in Dodge County. But these storms are just sitting over the same area, so folks haven't been able to go outside and actually see what damage has occurred. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And remember, just to the east of all of these storms, the atmosphere has not been touched this afternoon. So even though these storms may look a little bit ragged, as they push east, they can also recycle and they can regenerate and continue to strengthen. So, bottom line is we still have one of those environments. Sam, we still have that cell that I'm watching south of Janesville. That's over Rockford.
Gotcha.
And it's something we got to watch very closely here because this guy is out ahead of everything. And the other thing, too, is one thing about storms. Storms do not like to interact with each other, right? Sharing is not caring when it comes to storms, all right? You get an individual cell that is going to be in an environment. We have to watch this very closely. I just want to keep an eye on it, especially for our friends in Walworth County. Walworth County, you are not under any warning at this point, but that could change. And if the storm looks like it starts to take shape and wraps up a little bit, we're going to have to watch that for you. So we're just kind of keeping our eyes all across the area, and we got storms from north to south, going on here, and they are starting to, maybe push out a little bit. Be interesting to see, Sam, if this kind of bulges out somewhat. It looks like it's been doing that around Madison. And if we see that accelerate a little bit, especially if we get some mid-level winds that come in there, and this bows out, then that's going to be very problematic as it moves east, right?
Absolutely. And again, with the destructive tag, with the 80-mile-per-hour winds possible, if you're in Lake Ripley, Lake Mills, Waterloo, Watertown, I would get ready to take your tornado precautions. You don't want to be near windows with 80-mile-per-hour straight line winds coming in. Again, it doesn't matter if it's rotating or not. That is going to be doing some serious damage. And we don't see destructive tags issued with severe thunderstorm warnings very often. They're fairly rare. They likely triggered your alerts on your phone. And you may have heard the tornado sirens, and that's sometimes communities, once it reaches that threshold for severe damaging straight line winds, they will issue, or they will sound those sirens in some communities.
Do we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Walworth County, by the way?
That we do.
All right, we were just talking about Walworth County, and I'm anticipating that this is everything to do with that cell that's coming out of northern Illinois, tracking toward Beloit and Rockford.
Yep.
So, yeah, we just need to watch that one closely. Again, they're zipping on by, so we're pretty much moving everything right around 50 to 55 miles an hour as these storms are coming through. So, Darien at 9:12, Whitewater at 9:27, Palmyra at 9:33. My concern with this storm is probably going to be not only damaging winds, but some hail. But if that storm can get wrapped up a little bit, and we're going to have to watch the southern edge of that storm, that may be one that, maybe tornadoes at some point. I'm going really putting the cart before the horse, but there's not a lot around that storm, and that's why I just want to, keep our eyes on that. It's not super organized at this point, obviously enough that there's a severe thunderstorm warning on it. But Sam, maybe let's do our storm tracks again. I'm not trying to forget folks in that tornado warned area. There's just a lot to cover, right? From north to south. So I want to do a storm track on the rest of that tornado warning. Probably take that into Sheboygan County.
Yep.
And then
do the little southern edge of that as well.
I think that's safe. I think that's a good idea. And then after this one, we'll go along that line where the damaging winds are approaching Waukesha County. So 8:50 Fond du Lac, Kewaskum at 9, Plymouth at 9:17, Sheboygan at 9:32. So reaching the lakefront, at least in that area, right around 9:30 or so. Again, we talked about from Waukesha, Waukesha County, Milwaukee County, seeing those storms between about 9 and 10 o'clock. All in all, I think the timing is probably going to be fine. Again, you got that tornado warned part of Fond du Lac County. We've been watching little notches and little areas there. Really tough to kind of pinpoint. That's why we've gone down that line. Sam?
And switching back over to the radar view here in in Dane County.
Sure.
If we want to just stay on that radar view, I want to point out how the storm's getting a little bit more organized again. Those two storms interacted with each other. If we want to take the radar full, I'm going to draw a storm track out for this one.
Yeah, good idea.
And this one, since it merged together, is starting to move a little bit more northeast than northeast like our other cells.
Right.
So again, Watertown, you're in the path of this storm. Waterloo in just a few minutes, about 3 minutes away. Lake Mills at 8:58. Watertown 9:08 p.m. Emmett at 9:09. Ixonia at about 9:15. Again, these storms are racing, so we've been giving you a lot of leeway, a lot of lead time. So take advantage of it as these storms continue to move northeast.
Yeah, Oconomowoc too. I know you weren't specifically on there, but probably closer to 9:15, those storms are going to be racing toward you. I know we got a lot of folks that are watching there. So maybe if you want to go back to the velocity product, Sam, just to sample inside, just to see what kind of winds we're looking at.
We're getting a lot of clutter.
So it is a lot of clutter as we get closer to the radar. But these storms here, obviously, these are the concerned areas that we've been watching, at least where the National Weather Service was tagging the potential for 70-plus mile-an-hour winds. Now, I'm not talking just widespread, damaging winds like that, but there could be pockets of that, and that obviously can do some damage as well. So
new radar scan right here.
Yep, we're getting the radar scan, not as high, but we're seeing about 50 or so mile-per-hour winds out of that, and that would be great. But just about 10, 15 minutes ago, it was a completely different story. Now we're looking at closer to 58. Again, for these storms to trigger a severe thunderstorm warning, you need 58 mile-an-hour winds or more, and earlier on we were seeing that. So there are some pockets here, 58 to 60 miles an hour. So if you're watching from Johnson Creek, Jefferson, Fort Atkinson, Watertown, those winds are going to be moving toward you. Sam?
I am going to move farther to the north while we have the velocity product going, just to check in on any areas of rotation. Again, we haven't been seeing much in the areas of rotation, but maybe over the Byron area, maybe a little notch there. Again, we've been warning radar indicated rotation for these little notches that have been popping up.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, one of the reasons we stay on with these tornado warnings is we're getting new data and we're getting scans, that are coming in. So, maybe saying, hey, you're saying the same information, you can go on and off. Not really. It's not easy to do that, to jump back, on when we're getting new stuff. These storms are evolving, they're changing constantly. They change within the environment. They change around individual storms and all of that. So, and we're still watching this guy down here that's about to cross the border, very close to Beloit. This is going to be tracking toward Elkhorn on the western side, northwestern side of Walworth County. So definitely a concern there out of the storm, especially if it stays away from this main complex here. It's just something, I've been kind of harping on a little bit over the last 10 to 15 minutes. Not super organized, but at any point, that storm is in a very favorable environment. And if it starts rotating, there's not much there. So, meaning there's not much around it to interact. So we got to just keep watching the southern side of that. That Caledonia that is in Illinois, that's not our Caledonia. Just to make that clear, if you're just looking at the radar. So we've got obviously pockets of severe thunderstorms that are extending throughout the area. Numerous severe thunderstorm warnings. Now Waukesha proper and Milwaukee County, you are not under a severe thunderstorm warning at this point, but that could change. That tornado warning obviously continues. That goes until 9 o'clock. Is that correct, Sam?
Correct.
Tornado warning for Fond du Lac County, so we're going to see what happens.
9:15, sorry.
9:15, right? Yes. So we'll continue on that, and any of these other storms. I mean, right now the potential's there for damaging winds. As you can see, another round of storms that'll be approaching the Beaver Dam area. So need to be away from windows as those storms pass through you in Beaver Dam. A couple of isolated storms right around Watertown. These are not necessarily severe. The main line is still out to your west, but we're still showing the potential for some strong gusty winds throughout the Dane County area, and all of that is moving into western Jefferson County, and also will be moving back in to western Dodge County. Sam?
The emergency manager from Dodge County is reporting multiple trees across roads across northern half of Dodge County. You guys have pretty much been seeing relentless storms now for the last 45 minutes. You're getting a little bit of a lull right now in Beaver Dam, but that area in Dane County we were watching is surging a little bit more now into Dodge County. So even though you're still under that tornado warning that ends here in a couple of minutes, I would stay put if you're in your shelter, because that portion of that storm is heading right for Beaver Dam once again, with destructive winds possible.
Yeah, that's right. And my concern is, as we notice this cell here, if it does start to bow out, what's happening is we've got winds, aloft that are basically punching into that, and that's causing that to bow. And on the leading edge of that bow is where you can get those damaging winds, that come out. And that would not surprise me. This may be just getting a little bit more organized, Sam, at this point. There's been a lot of interaction within this line of showers and thunderstorms, but if we see that surge and we see this come together a little bit, that's going to be a concern downstream as well, if that comes through. But Sam's absolutely right. I mean, Dodge County's been, just kind of trained over and over again with severe storms, and it looks like another branch is going to be moving in your area there. So here's the radar as it continues to scan through. Tornado warning continues for Fond du Lac County until 9:15. So we got just about another 15 minutes on that. At this point, nothing is being extended into Sheboygan County. We're not seeing anything for the Weather Service saying They're considering that. My guess is maybe they extend a severe thunderstorm warning that goes throughout Sheboygan County, but we will see. I mean, bottom line is, there's definitely opportunities within these storms with these notches. Sam?
The National Weather Service has just updated that destructive tornado warning. They brought the wind speeds down from 80 to now 70 miles per hour. Again, it's looking a little bit more ragged on radar. And we were just talking about that surge going into Dodge County, but still 70 mile per hour winds. That's still going to do a lot of tree, power line, roof damage as well. So just stay hunkered down if you're hunkered down right now in Dodge County.
Yeah, those severe thunderstorm warnings. So yeah, if you're basically watching from Beaver Dam to Watertown, Fort Atkinson, you're just getting rolled over with this complex of showers and thunderstorms. It's had the history, especially with radar sampling that storm earlier, of 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. So even if it's coming down, I'm not totally, let's just put it this way, I'm not saying that it's weakening completely. I mean, we may get that to strengthen as it moves a little bit further to the east as well, just due to the fact that we haven't had a whole lot. So here's our reset here. We do have one set of tornado warnings here, northern Dodge County into Fond du Lac County till 9:15. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings that extend all of our counties in orange here, which include western Walworth County, all of Jefferson County, western Waukesha County, northwestern Washington County, and then a good majority of Dodge County. Severe thunderstorms capable of 60-plus mile-an-hour winds. We've been relaying some of the emergency management reports out of Dodge County. Trees down, some power lines down. Obviously a problem there with power outages, and that will continue. Sam, you seen anything there or what they're discussing?
We are now getting more reports of tree damage near Waupun coming in from emergency management. There's also been reports of some trees down in Rock County. Don't have a specific location though, whether it was the northern part of the county with that line that surged into Dane County, or with the current severe thunderstorm that we are tracking out of Rock and then into Walworth County. So trying to get a little bit more details on that, some confirmation. But at this point, the area that we're most concerned about is within Dodge County. And it looks like we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Dodge, Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, and Washington County. So I'm going to flip back to the radar. I'm going to turn the radar off so we can just see that new warning in and of itself. It didn't extend too far, and that tornado warning has now been officially canceled for Dodge County. So the only tornado warning we have remaining is for Fond du Lac County, for the city of Fond du Lac as well. That goes until 9:15. And then we have this new severe thunderstorm warning, again, includes portions of southwestern Sheboygan County. That now goes until 9:45. 60 mile per hour wind gusts are the concern.
All right, yeah, and we expected that. So a little bit further into Washington County, western portions of Sheboygan County. So at this point, I would say any one of you, I mean, as we're watching these storms, the Weather Service could trigger, tornado warnings at any point. We're not seeing anything super organized, at least when it comes to that. But again, there's still storms to the southwest, and this area has not been touched by anything. But those storms are coming toward the Beaver Dam area again, tracking toward Lowell, into Watertown, from Cambria to Columbus, into Waterloo, as they're moving east-northeast. Storms are racing pretty good, anywhere from about 50 to 55 miles an hour. Sam?
New tornado warning just issued for the northern portion of Sheboygan County. This does include Plymouth. This is just to the north of the city of Sheboygan. Let me get the details on that. This goes until 9:30, continuing with that radar indicated rotation out of Fond du Lac County. Again, we haven't had any confirmed tornadoes, but we're still seeing these notches. So we do have a new tornado warning issued for the northern half of Sheboygan County. Elkhart Lake is included, Howard's Grove, Mosel, you're all included in this tornado warning until 9:30. Again, moving northeast at 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, so anywhere around there, a good idea to make sure you're in your basement, get away from windows as those storms come through. As you see the complex here, again, as we've looked on and off in that storm, pretty tricky to pinpoint the exact locations there. We are watching this area here as it's coming throughout Fond du Lac County. I'll be interested to see maybe some of the wind gusts at the airport in Fond du Lac, maybe we'll get that update, there. Otherwise, these storms are going to be coming through. Sheboygan, you are right on that line. Too close to comfort, for comfort, if you ask me. So if I were you, I would definitely be, getting in your safe spot as well, Sam.
I wouldn't be surprised if the sirens were going off in Sheboygan either,
Sure.
but Sheboygan, Plymouth, Howards Grove, Elkhart Lake, Greenbush, Eden, Mount Calvary, St. Cloud, Haven, you're all in this tornado warning and in the path of some destructive storms.
All right, let's widen out. We'll keep the radar on, Sam. I do want to keep checking in on our storms to the south, seeing anything. We've got this complex here. Definitely does not look like it's that organized, but it's just to the east, or I should say just to the west of Lake Geneva as that storm moves through. We will have to see if maybe some of the severe thunderstorm warnings get issued a little bit further, to the east there. We still have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings going on throughout our area as these storms extend. They've had the history of some very strong damaging winds, especially throughout the Dane County area. We're not seeing that type of organization, at least right now. That obviously, could change, at any moment. But we're back looking at some of the wind gusts as they approach some of our cities right now.
And it looks like the wind gusts have come down a bit into Jefferson County, which is great news, at least compared to what we were seeing in Dane County.
Right.
So that is fantastic news. I am going to slide a little bit farther to the north, see if we can see any notches, anything really standing out that's co-located with radar. I'm not seeing too much, but again, they are quick embedded spin-ups within these storms.
Let's do a storm track on that new tornado warning. I know we mentioned a lot of different communities that'll be impacted, and we'll just do the storm track, a little squall line storm track that goes within the Polygon area, just to give some folks an idea, a heads up on when that storm is going to be approaching your town there. So Forest at 9:05, so over you right now. Plymouth at 9:16. Elkhart Lake at 9:19, Kiel at 9:24 as the storms come through. So watch out, especially downstream as the storms have the potential, especially within that line, to see 60+ mile-an-hour winds. I know it's tough to pinpoint, an exact, location where, a couplet would be. And the Weather Service has just been extending a lot of these warnings east, just due to the fact that it has been a little bit difficult, to see. But you can see the storms are right over. In fact, you want to turn back on the lightning, Sam, just to see where some of these clusters are, some of the storms. And notice this part of the storm, as it's approaching Jefferson, looks like it's trying to bow out, just a little bit. You can see that leading edge, so we'll have to see if that holds together, and if it continues to bow out, that could mean, more damaging winds downstream toward Oconomowoc, into Ottawa, Waukesha, maybe Menominee Falls, Whitefish Bay, Milwaukee. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself, right now, but these storms are, progressing east. So even though you may not be seeing the storms right now, we are expecting severe storms to continue as they move east. We also have some storms moving throughout Walworth County. Maybe we can zoom in a little bit closer there.
These are moving more northeast.
Pardon me?
And these in Walworth County are moving more northeast.
Right. All right. So as these storms are moving, kind of through the Elkhorn area, McWanago, Waukesha, you could get clipped by some of these storms as they move, like Sam had mentioned, to the northeast. So we're seeing a little bit more of that movement to the east. Here's the thing. These storms are not going to be lingering tonight, and they're not going to be sitting around throughout 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Once this initial line comes through, then we should be quieting down. Tomorrow, actually, we quiet down nicely. Temps in the 70s, at a drier air mass. It's going to feel completely different across the area. So that's how that is. We are seeing a little bit of a surge, some storms at the southwest of Monroe that we'll have to watch as well as the storms come through. But it seems like we're getting some better organization, Sam, just a little bit into Watertown. So maybe, and I don't know what you feel about the direction of these storms, but more,
kind of northeast, that leading edge of it.
Yeah, they're not really going due east at this point, to follow, the interstate. But, the storms, we'll call it east-northeast, at least at this point. Watertown, a few minutes from now. Hustisford at 9:27. Rubicon at 9:32. Mayville at 9:38. Kewaskum at 9:50 as those storms come through. Sam?
I also wanted to pass along that there is considerable damage across all of Dane County. We were talking about that severe damaging winds that were going across the county. Nearly every municipality in Dane County has been damaged in some capacity. Over 150 calls for service. Trees on top of homes, power's out, power lines, trees down. Dodge County also in the same boat. Trees, power lines down. One house was also struck by lightning. So this is still a very serious situation. A lot of these storms still racing at about 55 to 60 miles per hour. So you're getting in the thick of it. And in Beaver Dam, you have been seeing torrential rain now for well over an hour. I wouldn't be surprised if there was also some flooding ongoing, but folks just haven't been able to get outside and really assess what's going on outside their homes. So still stay hunkered down as this moves on through.
Yeah, I've just seen some reports from emergency management in Dodge County. High call volume going on. There's a lot of damage throughout Dodge County. Trees, power lines down. One house was struck by lightning, so that's pretty scary as well. And you notice this cluster of lightning, Sam, as it approaches Watertown. So definitely not taking my eyes off of that part of the storm as well. Definitely looks like it's trying to strengthen a little bit, and maybe it's coming into a little bit more of a favorable environment as well.
And our own AJ Biapor is currently in Watertown, so if there is any considerable damage there, he will let us know. That storm is now just approaching. Again, just going to check on the northern portion of this line that is still tornado warned. The leading edge of it looks more like straight line winds, but again, these quick notches, quick spin ups, just take your tornado precautions. Again, Plymouth, Mosel, Haven, Elkhart Lake, Greenbush, you're still in the path of this storm. The tornado warning does still continue until 9:30 here. But yeah, we are getting some pretty significant wind damage reports coming out of Dodge County. We also had those significant reports in western Fond du Lac County about 45 minutes ago. And there might even be some gusty winds here coming into Fond du Lac on the backside of this storm. Again, the radar is sampling the winds very high up in the storms in Fond du Lac and Sheboygan County, since the radar is quite a bit farther away than, say, Watertown. But still, just keep your tornado precautions going. That tornado warning includes northern Sheboygan County. I'm going to query here these winds. Again, near El Dorado, they're really picking up. But again, pretty high up in the storm. But we get these really, really heavy downpours. Sometimes it brings these strong wind gusts down to the ground. It
does, pulls them. So maybe what we should do is do another storm track as the storms are coming through, especially for Sheboygan County. That's the area, at least when it comes to our tornado warn part of the storm. And there's a pretty decent lightning cluster there around Fond du Lac. So we'll draw it out as it continues to move east. They are moving rather quickly, 50 miles an hour or so. So we'll do that storm track. Take it out.
This notch is going a little bit farther northeast. That leading edge, again, starting to take that more northeast path.
Yeah, definitely. I think that looks pretty good for the storm track. So Howard's Grove, 9:32 for you. Newton just outside of our area at 9:37. Greenbush at 9:15. So basically within minutes, these storms are going to be moving through. So here's the thing, these storms with that tornado warning, I mean, they're going to be hitting the lakefront, probably within the next, 15 minutes or so. It's not going to take much. And then we've got, the storms to the south. As Sam had mentioned, torrential downpours right around the Beaver Dam area. They're getting hammered tonight in Dodge County. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings for Washington County. We definitely haven't forgotten about you there. However, those storms are just going to start to move in. We really don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings for the majority of Waukesha County, Racine, Kenosha, Milwaukee, into Ozaki, at least at this point. But my guess would be we probably will see an extension of some of those warnings. Maybe turn on the hail product real quickly, Sam. I guess you've got something, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I'll flip over to the hail product. Just wanted to mention it hasn't updated on our maps yet, but the severe thunderstorm warning for Rock and Walworth County has been canceled.
Okay, good.
Which is good news. So yes, I will go to the hail product. We'll take a look. Most of the severe thunderstorms have just been showing about a quarter-sized hail.
Sure.
At most, we've been seeing the larger hail earlier today when we were north of the warm front. But near Watertown, we're starting to get a little bit of that hail spike, so probably some quarter-sized hail coming into town right about now. 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts measured in Beaver Dam. That is a current, not a past one, so that's on the backside of these storms. Going a little bit farther to the north, just north of Lowell, we're getting a little bit of a hail core spike. But anywhere in this green, you're probably seeing at least pea to marble-sized hail that's coming down in a pretty wide area. That's right over Fond du Lac itself right now. I'm going to go a little bit farther to the south.
And coming down with strong winds, too.
Yes.
I mean, so it's going to be, you know, really kind of raining hail, if you will.
Just right near the Lake Ripley area as well, we're starting to see a little bit more of a hail spike. But these storms are looking a little bit more disorganized. We're not seeing a leading edge that's very smooth, but we're getting a lot of wind damage reports from this entire squall line in and of itself. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom back out, show the whole area, turn off the radar so we can see where our current warnings are.
It's a good reset.
And we just got a new one, so that works.
So we've got new severe thunderstorm warnings, and this one for Waukesha County. That does include, looks like it does include Waukesha this time, right? All right, so this goes out until 9:45. So the extension of that warning, not a surprise. Eventually, we were probably going to get that severe thunderstorm warning to go into Milwaukee County as well. Ozaukee County, you are not included. We don't have anything at this point throughout Racine into Kenosha. We've got this cluster of storms that will be moving in. And Sam, is that what they're warning on for that cluster?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, these storms are moving away from Walworth County, but now they're moving into Waukesha County. I would probably expect some hail with those, some gusty winds from probably 50 to 60 miles an hour. Those are going to be more of your marginal severe thunderstorm warnings. We're still seeing the potential right around Watertown. Obviously, heavy rain, the storms coming through. It's bowed out a little bit here, so near Oconomowoc. If you're watching from Erin or Merton, if those storms are going to be moving in your direction, if they do move a little bit further to the east, you know, watch out for the potential for 60-plus, mile-an-hour winds there. Obviously we're at night now, so it's kind of tough to see. And if it's raining to beat the band, the last thing you're going to be doing is running outside, and taking a look at what's going on. Sam actually is cleaning up the radar a little bit this time of the night. We get a lot of ground clutter that makes it a little bit tougher, but we can see everything very, very clearly here.
Do a quick storm track. On the cell that's coming into Waukesha County here.
Yeah, that's a good idea. McWanago, that storm's going to be coming toward you pretty much within the next couple of minutes. Watch out for some hail and some gusty winds. Sussex at 9:37, the Falls at 9:44, Waukesha at 9:30, Genesee at 9:22, and as I mentioned, McWanago within a couple of minutes. So we have that. That tornado warning continues. That goes until 9:30. Is that correct, Sam? So we still have that. Although you can see this part of the storm, right here. It's definitely a concern as it's moved out of Mayville and Brownsville as it bows out a little bit.
AJ Viapor is in Watertown right now. He said things are getting pretty rough. If we want to take that video, we do have video of that going on right now. Again, that intense part of the storm. I'll adjust the radar so we can see what's hitting Watertown right now. You're getting into the thick of it. You might be getting some of those strong winds. Again, it's weird. Some of these storms are tracking more north-northeast, some more east-northeast, so they are colliding together. But yeah, things are getting a little bit rough out there. Still under that severe thunderstorm warning, 60 to 70 mile-per-hour winds possible. And I did see a video on social media in the Ripon area. There are numerous very large trees down, blocking roadways. We're getting more reports of that also in Dane County, Dodge County. So it's happening, folks. We are getting damage reports beginning to come in, but most of the hail reports we've gotten are pretty small. Pea-sized hail report recently in the city of Delavan. So hail is not a huge concern, but wind-driven hail would be a bit of a concern.
Right. Yeah. Bottom line tonight, right? It's 60-plus mile-an-hour winds. The potential for an embedded tornado or two. Thankfully, we haven't seen anything confirmed at this point, but. Within these storms, you gotta watch them, very closely. So hopefully these storms are going to be moving away from Beaver Dam, away from Dodge County, because they've been hit pretty hard there. A lot of heavy rain that's coming into Watertown. You can see that lightning on that leading edge. Does look like it's trying to bow out a little bit as it tracks toward the Oconomowoc area, toward Erin, into Merton as well. I know, Sam, you've been tracking social media as well as running the radar, getting reports, and then of course we also have the National Weather Service with the chat. So a lot going on with these storms.
I'm just pointing out this little feature. It looks like a gust front that is racing out ahead of that tornado warned portion of the storm. So that could be very good news for you folks in Sheboygan County. I wouldn't get out of your safe places of shelter quite yet.
Right.
But I'm going to go through the last few radar scans. You can see that gust front kind of coming out ahead of the leading edge. Normally when that happens, the storms start to weaken a little bit. They start to lose some of their punch. So we'll continue to watch for that weakening trend. But at this point, if we take a look at the radar full right now, it's starting to recongeal into more of a line, Drew, from Fond du Lac to east or west of Kewaskum there. Yeah,
bowing out, and maybe we just do a wide storm track on there for the potential for, some strong winds. So notice the notch that we're looking at, but it is moving east to northeast, and Sam's going to run this out. Kewaskum, really the next few minutes for you. Plymouth at 9:39, Sheboygan Falls at 9:51. So these storms will be coming toward the lakefront. We're a little bit more delayed when it comes to Milwaukee County with the storms to the west, but we will be expecting more storms, there. At this point, that tornado warning goes until 9:30, and we'll have to see what happens after that. The storms will be coming closer to the lakefront there. I don't know if there's any real talk about, extending anything. And of course, we are getting toward the edge of that radar beam, as well. So it makes it a little trickier. Yeah,
and I wanted to reiterate the severe thunderstorm warning for this portion of the storm in Dodge and Fond du Lac County, up to 70-mile-per-hour winds possible. And we're starting to see some of those stronger gusts on more the backside or in the middle of the storm. Just about 20 minutes ago, there was a 62-mile-per-hour wind gust that was recorded in Fox Lake. So that's north of Beaver Dam. So that was on the backside of these storms. So we're getting storms that are producing the strong gusts on the leading edge within the core of it itself. So even though the leading edge gets to you, you're not in the clear quite yet. So we are getting some measured wind gusts of severe status. So it's no surprise we're getting many power outage reports and tree damage reports as well. Drew?
Yeah, I did see the Weather Service saying trained weather spotters winds were reported 60 to 70 miles per hour right around Fox Lake and Beaver Dam, like you were saying. So, we're getting those reports from trained spotters that, have their anemometers and are actually getting ground truth wind speeds as those storms come through. And you can see
clear this wind speed here in Fond du Lac.
Yeah, so some real strong winds that are pounding Fond du Lac, close to 60 to 70 miles an hour. And that was recorded as those storms were coming throughout Dodge County. So even though, we may not get a single, tornado report, we're going to get a lot of these damaging wind reports as they come through. So we've got two areas that we're watching. The one to the north, looks like we've got a little bit of a surge here. And then another one, that's surging out from Watertown, finally pushing a little bit east of Beaver Dam, and that would be an area too, of concern here with these winds. And I don't know if it's too close to the radar, if you can sample those winds, Sam, within that area. I'm not sure if we're seeing anything, significant, but it is somewhat close, close to the radar. So
yeah, and it's getting just to the north of it too. So in that in-between zone.
Yeah, we're getting some stuff that's a little bit harder to see. That's why you got to appreciate those storm spotters that are out there, because they're monitoring and really giving us what we call the ground truth of what's going on. And they're putting themselves in a situation as well, especially at night, which can be a little bit tricky. So with all that being said, let's widen out as we've got the one tornado warning until 9:30, and then we've got some additional storms that are developing, moving into Waukesha County, right over Genesee. Could have some small hail and some gusty winds moving toward you as those storms are lifting to the north. As Sam had mentioned, there's the gust front there. That's the cool outflow coming out from those storms. And the further out, if that outflow runs way past those storms and runs out, that's a good thing. A lot of times, those storms will weaken if that happens. I do want to widen out just a little bit more, Sam, and just take a look what's going on. We're not seeing any severe thunderstorm warnings throughout northern Illinois at this point. Over the border,
nope.
We still have some storms around, but that's a good thing. We do have still some severe thunderstorm warnings from Dodgeville into Monroe, but earlier on, from Dane County to Dodge County, I mean, that might have been the most intense part of these storms tonight as they move through. So hopefully that's the case, and we just get some garden variety storms that come into Milwaukee County. But in the meantime, we still have strong to severe storms that are moving throughout the northern parts of our area. West of Milwaukee, Waukesha, you got some of those storms that are going to be coming in within the next couple of minutes or so. Some hail and some gusty winds possible for you. Jefferson, you're getting pounded with some very heavy rainfall, and that extends back along 94. So, traveling along 94 right now, you're going to be in curtains of some very, very heavy rain as those storms are coming through. So, tornado warning continues until 9:30 for Sheboygan County as well as Fond du Lac County for this line of showers and thunderstorms as it moves to the east-northeast. Sam?
And we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for the rest of Sheboygan County in far southern Fond du Lac County. That is for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. It's still moving to the northeast at about 65 miles per hour. Penny-sized hail is also possible, but these storms have had a history of widespread tree and power line damage and measured wind gusts between 60 and 70 miles per hour. So starting to see more of that straight line wind damaging threat. Again, we've been checking velocity. We're not seeing too many couplets, which is good news for any tornado potential. But again, we're seeing it become a little bit more put together now that it's just to the east of Fond du Lac towards Auburn, tracking more to the northeast. Drew?
All right, yeah, we continue to monitor these storms that have been producing damage throughout the Dodge County area, and we will do another storm track just to get everyone caught up with these storms here. Yeah, they are moving about 50 miles an hour, so this is what we're looking at. Kewaskum at 9:30, Plymouth at 9:43, Sheboygan Falls at 9:53, Sheboygan itself at 9:58. So those storms will reach the lakefront at 10 o'clock. Not probably going to be the case throughout Milwaukee. We still have storms that are developing to the southwest of our viewing area that will need to be watched. But here's the main line here. Just put this in motion, if you will, Sam, just to show people where a lot of this is moving. Now, originally, this was moving from Waupun to Beaver Dam, Sam. It looked like it was moving more northeast, but now it's starting to move a little bit further to the east. So it looks like maybe it's going to track, instead of complete northeast, but more east-northeast. And the reason I say that, if you're watching from West Bend, those storms are going to be moving toward you. You could see some strong gusty winds over 60 miles an hour there, and we'll have to see if they continue on toward Ozaukee County at this point. But we do have some scattered storms throughout Waukesha County, prompting severe thunderstorm warnings. Those were coming out of Walworth County, could produce some hail and some gusty winds. So let's pan a little bit to the south there, Sam, with those storms throughout Waukesha County. You can see them bubbling up there. Sullivan, again, they're pretty ragged at this point, but they're going to be moving toward the Germantown area. We'll have to see. I don't know if those storms will hit Milwaukee. They probably won't. We'll have to see if those storms out to the west and southwest do as they continue to develop. But still some strong storms now to the southwest of Dodge County. So looks like the storm's kind of regenerating there.
Some good news here. The tornado warning that is currently in effect for both Fond du Lac and Sheboygan County, that will be allowed to expire at 9:30. It's being replaced by that newly issued severe thunderstorm warning we were just talking about. The damaging winds with 70-mile-per-hour potential. Again, we've had the measured wind gusts 60 to 70. A lot of tree damage, a lot of power line damage across Dodge County and into Fond du Lac County. And this threat is continuing to push into Washington and Sheboygan counties. But the good news is we're not seeing rotation. It's more of a straight line wind threat. So that tornado warning will be allowed to expire.
Yeah, we're going to continue watching things tonight through 10 o'clock. Just due to the fact that these storms have had the history of damaging winds, even though that tornado warning, may go off. As we have mentioned, Dodge County has been hit very hard with strong winds. I'm sure Fond du Lac County as well. We're going to get some more reports. Dane County, just outside of our area, Madison, probably the hardest hit from earlier on today, earlier on this evening, with some damaging winds around there. A lot of trees down. Of course, we're not really going to be able to see that tonight. But tomorrow, once that sun comes up and the weather, turns a lot calmer, we'll see probably a lot more, going on there. So we've got some storms coming into Waukesha. We also have heavy rain and storms that are going to be moving back into the Beaver Dam area, into Dodge County, and also some storms that are coming into portions of Washington County as well. So we're not seeing any severe thunderstorm warnings, throughout Milwaukee County. We're seeing or Kenosha, but that could change with some of those storms.
Yes.
Sam, we're also watching
the storms to the southwest too.
That's right, and that's exactly what I was. You just read my mind. We've got these storms from Dodgeville into Monroe, and these storms are prompting severe thunderstorm warnings. So we need to see, what those do. But thankfully, right now, all is fairly quiet throughout Walworth County, Rock County. Not seeing anything throughout Racine to Kenosha or Milwaukee County. Let's zoom into those storms, though, in Waukesha County, Sam, just real quickly.
Pause the radar as well.
Yeah, so right over the radar here, Oconomowoc, you're getting hit. Some very heavy rainfall from Genesee to Waukesha. It's pretty loud with that storm as it tracks toward Heartland into Pewaukee, probably with some small hail, maybe some pea-sized, maybe up to some dime-sized hail within that storm, and some gusty winds from 50 to 60 miles an hour. Not out of the question with that storm. So we have that area, Oconomowoc in that severe thunderstorm warning. Watertown, you're in that severe thunderstorm warning. So maybe a good idea right now, Sam, now that the tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire at 9:30, we can just reset all the different warnings, because we've got like this hodgepodge of of warnings going on all across the area, and still storms to the southwest as well. So we'll wait until 9:30, which is right now. There we go. Tornado warning is done there.
Yep.
So let's turn off the radar and let's take a look at the warnings across the area. Do a little reset and go around and see when some of the expiration times are, if you will.
All right, well, we start with Jefferson County. That also includes the Waukesha County warning. That goes until 10 o'clock. 60-mile-per-hour winds possible within this cell. And again, that's the portion of the line that's moving more to the north as opposed to northeast or east. Farther to the north, we still have the severe thunderstorm warning in Dodge County, and same with Washington County. This goes until 9:45. Beaver Dam, you're finally getting a little bit of a break in the action right now, which is good news. But the tornado warning was allowed to expire because it was replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning that has the potential for 70-mile-per-hour winds. That was for Fond du Lac and Sheboygan County. That also runs until 10 p.m. this evening. This whole area of storms is tracking to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. There have been a lot of folks seeing repeated storms. Watertown has seen a few storms, Beaver Dam, multiple storms as well. I'm going to flip the radar back on behind me just so you can see that that line that was moving through Waukesha and into Jefferson County was lifting far enough, fast enough to the northeast that it's now caught up with that main squall line of storms that has been producing that wind damage. We're getting a lot of wind damage reports, trees, power lines down. Just got a report, only a 32-mile-per-hour wind gust at the National Weather Service in Sullivan itself. So that was with that little bit of cluster here that just moved through to the north and east. Drew?
Yeah, I just got my weather tracker, Jim Hoff, near the Horicon area, saying numerous power poles down just south and west of Ripon. We talked about that. The west side of that area is without power. So he's one of our weather trackers giving us that information there. So we appreciate that as these storms are rolling through. So Milwaukee right now, not seeing anything. Pewaukee, you got that storm right over you. Could have some gusty winds, some small hail. I was at St. Anthony on the Lake school today doing a Tornado Ready presentation. We were talking all about severe weather there, so hopefully those kiddos there are paying attention. Still watching storms to the southwest. Still a lot of lightning clusters there, so those storms are still packing a punch and will need to be watched. Anything to the southwest, Sam?
Yeah, so our AJ Bioport currently in Watertown. We're going to get a live look at what they're seeing. The back edge of that storm now starting to push on out, so things quieting down a little bit. But again, as that line is surging to the north, wouldn't be surprised to get some of those enhanced wind gusts as it does interact with that squall line across Dodge County and into Fond du Lac County as well. But looks like things are starting to calm down after, according to AJ, it was getting a little rough a little bit earlier, about half hour or so ago. Drew?
Yeah, and just one thing too, Sam, just looking at that storm to the south and southwest of Watertown and really Beaver Dam, really near the Deerfield area. Let's go back over the radar. Obviously, we're not seeing much. You see that storm right here near Cottage Grove? You know, that's one right over Sun Prairie. The lightning's starting to perk up there, starting to see a little bit of a tail on the backside of that. That might be nothing, but you know, it's something obviously to continue to watch, you know, if there's anything within there. Again, this is an environment where storms can rotate, and remember, we haven't really talked about this. We still have a tornado watch throughout the entire area until midnight, so that's, you know, not out of the question there. So we'll have to, you know, just watch and see how these storms are interacting at this point. We're still seeing the potential for some strong gusty winds throughout Fond du Lac County into Sheboygan County in upwards of 60 miles an hour there. Now we're sampling this. Again, this is going to be further aloft, but still that could translate to easily some 60-mile-an-hour winds, you know, on the ground. So still plenty of wind energy as these storms are coming through, which is not a surprise tonight with this complex of thunderstorms as it moves across southeastern Wisconsin.
And looking at the velocity signatures now closer into Waukesha County, Jefferson County, not seeing quite as much in the way of strong winds. Again, we have this line of storms right now moving through Oconomowoc and Waukesha. We're only getting about 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts associated with those, at least right at the National Weather Service in Sullivan itself. But these storms are racing to the north, might interact or be absorbed by that squall line, might enhance some locally damaging wind. Again, we continue to have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. If we want to take the radar back full, we'll go ahead and zoom out as these storms, again, racing to the north. So it's about to get pretty loud in Washington County. It's been taking a while to get to you, but it is starting to move on in. Zooming in a little bit closer, the town of Erin's starting to see some of those strong storms. Ashapin, you're getting the last of it right now. It's closing in on Hartford. You're already starting to see a lot of lightning and thunder. We've had not only reports of trees and power lines down tonight, we've had trees reported on top of homes, on top of cars, and we've also had reports of homes being struck by lightning. So a lot of energy. This is all cloud to ground lightning that we are showing you. So don't go outside and try to see anything. It's dark out. We've been seeing a lot of cool clouds during the day. There's no need to risk it right now at night, especially for areas that are currently north of 94. As I zoom out a little bit further, again, there's still a few storms back to the south of Madison that will need to be watched. And again, that cell lifting out of Dane County, once again tracking towards the Columbus area and in towards Dodge County. We are still getting a lot of damage reports coming out of Dodge County as well, Drew. Yeah, a lot of power outages there, no doubt about it. So if you are watching, you know, from Dodge County, maybe on our live stream on our CBS 58 Ready Weather app, you know, that's a good way to continue to get that information. Unfortunately, once that power's out, it makes it pretty difficult.
to be, doing a lot of things with electronics, but we continue to stream there. The storms at the southwest of Madison, definitely this chunker over New Glarus, I mean, that has perked up a lot right over Belleville. That particular storm, it needs to be watched, and it looks like it's tracking pretty much throughout the same areas that have been hammered tonight with very heavy rainfall, lightning, thunder, and damaging winds. So again, that's one of those storms that not seeing a whole lot on the southern side. So something that that needs to be watched fairly closely there. It is outside of our area, I understand that, but it's one that we're going to have to watch, especially if it continues to track back over, some of the same areas. Here's my hope here is that this last batch is going to be moving more east, and we can get all of this out of here after about 11 o'clock tonight, so some folks can go to bed and not deal with that. If you're just joining us, we've had several tornado warnings earlier. We don't have any tornado warnings in effect. They have all expired, so that's a good thing. We still have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings that go until 10 o'clock tonight as the storms are moving through. But a lot of lightning, definitely a lot of heavy rainfall and gusty winds still possible with these storms as they come through. We can go around if you want, Sam, and zoom into some of the most intense, parts of our area here. Fond du Lac on the northern side, still seeing those storms come through. We haven't had a lot of reports from Fond du Lac, but it wouldn't surprise me if we get, some tree damage down around there as well, especially as those storms have come through. Lomira, let's pan a little bit further to the south, Sam, and take a look. Kewaskum, those storms are going to be blowing toward you. Campbellsport, right over Mayville. We're getting some heavy rain and a cluster of lightning to the south of Mayville, right around the Eustisford area, also to the west of Hartford. We've got a pretty decent storm there.
And that was part of the line, the one that was moving really quickly through Walworth, through Waukesha County. It's now reached that squall line, so maybe giving it a little bit of extra push, a little extra lift to create that spike in the lightning there. Yeah,
very, very possible. So that storm definitely has perked up within that area. And then we are watching some additional storms. Let's go south into Waukesha County, prompting severe thunderstorm warnings. So if you're watching from Menominee Falls, you're definitely hearing, the thunder around you. Pewaukee, we've got that storm that's moved just north of you as those storms lift a little bit further to the north and northeast.
All right, and new severe thunderstorm warning. Dane County, and Dodge County cannot get a break. I'm going to turn the radar off real quick, but it was for that cell that you were pointing out in northeastern Dane County. So we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Let me go ahead and query that for you. This does include Fox Lake again, Beaver Dam again. Talking 65-mile-per-hour wind gust, quarter-sized hail. That's moving to the northeast, according to the National Weather Service, at 70 miles an hour. Yeah, and that severe thunderstorm warning goes until 10:15 for that area. So not a surprise. Dodge County seems to be, at least in our area, kind of ground zero for those storms. And then we are watching storms of the southwest of the Madison area that have been perking up as well. This one near Fitchburg, right around Belleville. We got that cluster of lightning that's going to be tracking back into the Madison area. So a lot going on across the area. Thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms for tonight, producing damage. We've had a lot of damage reports around the Dodge County area, down power lines, trees that have fallen, on roads and even vehicles, and power lines down, which is a mess too. Speaking of down power lines, we do have just some tips when it comes to that. If you're out of power and you're kind of taking a look around, your house, you need to be very, very careful with that. I don't know if we can get those tips up, but when we do, we can go through some of those as well. Germantown, those storms are going to be tracking into your area as well. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings. You're kind of right on the border of that. Ozaukee County, no warnings for you. Some storms may skirt by in just a little bit. Milwaukee County, just not seeing
a whole lot. We may see some of the western areas there get clipped with some heavy rainfall, but you may have to wait for those storms out to the west before they come through. Sam?
An update from the National Weather Service. The severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for eastern Dodge County into Washington County that's set to expire at 9:45 will be allowed to expire at 9:45.
Good.
That southern edge of those storms that race to the north is kind of messing with things now, so the wind potential is a little bit more muddled. 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts are still expected with this, but it does look a lot less organized than it did just about 15 to 20 minutes ago when we were seeing that more discrete bowing segment that was going ahead and pushing out. So that severe warning will be allowed to expire at 9:45. So it's just in a few minutes here. Again, we still have the severe thunderstorm warning for Fond du Lac and Sheboygan County that goes until 10 p.m. And then that new severe thunderstorm warning that includes western Dodge County until 10:15. We have not had any new damage reports come in, but these storms have a history of producing tree power line damage. Homes being struck by lightning. In Rock County, a tree fell on a vehicle and some folks were trapped, thankfully uninjured. But it just shows you the power of the storms. And we have a lot of wind in the mid to upper levels right now. And sometimes these really heavy downpours bring down these wind gusts and we can see a surge or even a downburst. A type of cell. All right, looks like we have expired the severe thunderstorm warning for Dodge, Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, and Washington. That does not include eastern Sheboygan County. That warning still goes until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, let's turn off the radar and just reset a little bit because we've got some things coming, here or there.
It'll probably take about 2 minutes for that warning to disappear on our map itself.
Yeah, we'll get some updates, as this comes through. There's definitely a lot, that the Weather Service is doing, behind the scenes, trying to scale back and clear out some of that. Sam? And
they've also expired the severe thunderstorm warning in Jefferson and Waukesha counties. Again, just taking a bit for our maps to update. Since these were going until 9:45 itself, they will disappear from our map at 9:45 itself.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so
we're cutting back on things right now.
Yeah, 9:43, so we'll get a lot of that reset within about a minute or so, and we can kind of go around and just do some of our latest updates. So yeah, the good news is it's nice to see that a lot of these warnings are allowed to expire. We're not getting as much. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning for Fond du Lac and Sheboygan County that goes until 10 o'clock tonight. So another 15 minutes or so from there, and then we should get some of these to drop off in just a second here. 9:45. This one
about
for Dodge and Fond du Lac, so we should be nearing that one rather quickly. But this one for Dodge County, 10:15. That is continuing, for those storms coming through. It's the last thing that Dodge County needs after earlier, that earlier bout of the storms. Moving throughout there with tree damage, power lines down, et cetera. So here we come up on 9:45, and we're going to clear out some of these warnings. So there you go. There's the update here. So we've got just a few warnings in our area. So that's good. This would be nice. We're still watching storms to the southwest of Madison, at this point, prompting severe thunderstorm warnings, moving back into Madison. A lot of heavy rainfall, going on as it moves throughout Fond du Lac County and Sheboygan County. But the organization that we had about an hour ago as the storms came through it's really, really dropped off. We're seeing a lot of disorganization, right now within these storms. And that's great. That's what we want to see.
Truly the most organized storm right now is the one in Dane County. It's going to be splitting Madison and Stoughton here. Likely some large hail with that. And I'm looking at the wind signatures right over the Oregon area, starting to pick up again those velocities. So this is really the main storm, and it's tracking to the northeast. These storms are taking the same path. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some localized flooding going on in Dane County and Dodge County especially. But if I'm going to flip back over to the radar here for this more well put together cell, if we want to take the radar full so you can see what I'm talking about. This cell, again, moving to the northeast, it's got the wind signature, it's got the hail signature, and if it holds together, once again, would be heading right for Sun Prairie, Columbus, Beaver Dam, as it does continue to track northeast.
Yeah, we'll probably see, some additional warnings that get issued a little bit further away from that storm. We'll definitely watch it there. As we continue to watch the storms, let's go back around at least the areas that are, prompting the severe thunderstorm warnings. We've got that in Fond du Lac, just getting dumped on in Fond du Lac. Mayville getting hammered with some very heavy, rain and winds. West Bend, we don't have any more severe thunderstorm warnings for you in Washington County, but some decent storms that are coming through. Here's the outflow, so you're going to actually get some gusty winds that are going to be coming out near Sheboygan, and there's not really a storm right over Sheboygan, so those winds are reaching out well away from you. But throughout the western part of the county, Sheboygan County, you're going to get some very heavy rainfall, lightning and thunder, and some gusty winds there, probably around 40 to 50 miles an hour. Some pockets there. Beaver Dam, you still are seeing that heavy rainfall. There's a sliver of western, Dodge County and that severe thunderstorm warning, that we're watching, and then those storms that extend back to the south of Madison. So this would be great if these storms remain disorganized over the next hour or so. But we'll continue to watch those storms to the southwest, Sam.
So the latest from the National Weather Service, the cluster of storms that is moving through our northern locations right now, going to continue to contain that damaging wind potential along and ahead of those storms, especially with the gust front. But they are monitoring these storms back to the southwest near Madison to Monroe. The environment there is still somehow supportive and not worked over from the earlier storms. So they're going to be monitoring that for additional storm development for the next 1 to 2 hours. But behind this cluster right here, you're done.
That's it. Yeah, so we will see this progress and move out. Tomorrow, we're not expecting anything. Later on tonight, as we quiet on down, temps are going to be in the 70s tomorrow. Unfortunately, there's probably going to be a lot of people, Dodge County, that are going to be doing, some cleanup for tomorrow. We'll have several dry days and quiet days and warmer days for that matter before we see our next chance for some showers and thunderstorms coming through on Friday. I guess one of the good parts about getting the rain and storms, we remain in a nice surplus throughout the year when it comes to rainfall. This time last year in May, Milwaukee didn't even reach an inch of rainfall, just shy of 9/10 of an inch for one of the wettest months, that we have. And we were just on our way into those drought conditions, and that's going to be a completely different story. So kind of a sidebar there, but we're going to continue to watch the radar over the next 10 minutes before we get into to the newscast at 10 o'clock, where we'll have your full slate of news. Coming in on some of the wind gusts here, again, some gusty winds from 50 to maybe 60 miles an hour with some of these storms, but the organization just not what we saw earlier on today. When those storms had blown up throughout Dane County, we were seeing signatures on the radar anywhere from 70 to 80 miles an hour. Honestly, this is the kind of stuff that we were seeing, but more widespread. So Sam is querying this. This is outside of our area between Fitchburg, Stoughton, and the Madison area, but the radar is sampling winds at 70 miles an hour. So that storm still needs to be watched, especially if it is going to be tracking northeast back into Dodge County.
Yeah, it's taken that same exact path as many of these cells tonight, right through northwestern Dane County into portions of Columbus and then Beaver Dam. Again, earlier we were watching this cell still severe warned. We're not seeing actual rotation with it, which is also good news. Extremely heavy rainfall, a little bit of hail, damaging winds though still being brought down up to 60 miles per hour. But no indications from the Weather Service that there are any additional warnings or that anything would be extended past 10 p.m. We do have that one warning for western Dodge County that runs until 10:15, but into portions of Fond du Lac and Sheboygan County, things are really starting to settle down, at least in the damaging wind department. Again, we are watching the gust front that is now approaching the city of Sheboygan itself, so we'll get a wind measurement from there from the airport very shortly. But at this point, we are just continuing to see very, very frequent 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts along with this heavy rainfall itself. So good news is a little bit more disorganized north of 94. But again, we're still watching those storms to the west near Madison and Monroe.
Yeah, and what they'll probably be doing, and what the Weather Service is talking about, as these storms progress east, they will start to clear a lot of the western parts of the state from that tornado watch. Remember, we still have a tornado watch across our area that goes until midnight. So, we got to see this, come through. But Sam, put this in motion for us just so we can see the general movement. So we still have these storms here. My hope is they get a little bit of a push over the next couple of hours, and by midnight or so, these storms hopefully are going to be, clear to the area. But I wouldn't surprise me if we do get some additional warnings that pop, over the next hour or so, especially with some of those storms to the southwest of Madison. We're dealing with, strong gusty winds, heavy rainfall. In fact, coming up at 10, we'll try to get, some rainfall reports from in and around the area, especially throughout some of the hard-hit areas from Fond du Lac into Dodge County. Dodge County earlier, a lot of reports of trees down and power lines down, and hopefully we'll also get an update on probably some power outages as well coming up at 10 o'clock. So we're going to go back through. Let's take a look at the radar. Let's go from the northern side here as those storms are coming through. Still have that severe thunderstorm warning for Sheboygan County. Very heavy rainfall from Fond du Lac into the western parts of Sheboygan County. These are non-severe storms around West Bend. Port Washington, you're probably hearing some of that thunder that's going to be moving into your area. Some heavy rain possible for you. No severe thunderstorm warning at this point throughout Ozaukee County. Not really anticipating that. Fond du Lac, getting that very heavy rain that extends southwest of Waupun. Beaver Dam, again, more storms over you. But at least we don't have any tornado warnings. Earlier we did, but still some storms around the Beaver Dam area, also near Columbus. Technically, Beaver Dam, you were still in that severe thunderstorm warning, so please stay away from windows as those storms come through. We are up at 9:53, and thankfully the organization is not great at this point, which is good news. That's what you want to see. But still, we got to get through these storms to the southwest, and those are the ones that will be coming through over the next hour to about an hour and a half. So we're hoping all of this is going to be clear by about midnight tonight. Folks can go to bed, not worry about any storms, and try to get a little rest out of there, which can be tough. Remember, this is our storm season. May, June, July, August. Wisconsin typically gets the most amount of tornadoes in the month of June. We've already had 4 confirmed tornadoes. 2 of those back in February, when that was the first time ever Wisconsin had tornadoes in February. So we've had them in every single month. We average about 23 tornadoes a year, but I don't know about tonight. This is more wind damage. Of course, Weather Service, may do some surveying tomorrow, depending upon if there are some areas of concern. But so tough within these lines to really pinpoint, exact areas where tornadic activity, will be. So Sam, obviously, that's what we're looking at, when it comes to that. So thankfully, these storms right now, at least within the area, still some severe thunderstorm warnings continuing. A lot of these warnings are going to be dropping off after 10 o'clock tonight, which is good news. All right, we're going to continue our coverage on CBS 58 as we've got our 10 o'clock news. We're going to have your full slate of news coming up. We're not going to continue with wall-to-wall weather, so you're going to get your sports, weather, 7-day forecast, and a lot of news that's going on throughout the day as well. We appreciate you tuning in. Always, you can download that CBS 58 Ready Weather app. That is always available for you as we continue to update you on severe weather as severe weather season continues across southeastern Wisconsin. Keep it right here to CBS 58. We'll get you ready.